I have been taking better care of my skin for the last 5 years. I have been using retinol, moisturizer, and sunscreen for my face all year round, and have been cleansing my face when I shower. The only person I have taken seriously online about skincare is a licensed dermatologist based in the US. I have been watching her YouTube content here and there. I also visited an actual dermatologist 4 years ago, and she confirmed I should use the exact same routine I am using already for my age at the time, so that is an extra confirmation the YouTube dermatologist probably knows what she's talking about. These past few months, I have been a little worried about aging more than usual since I am turning 30 in a few months. So I ended up buying a face roller massager, and a couple of days ago I also bought a red light device for my face. That and the roller are probably the only things I have not heard that a dermatologist recommends them, but I haven't looked that into it. I just know people that have used it and have seen actual results from it. When I opened the red light device package, my husband was near me and asked me what it is, so I explained to him. Then he asked me how much it cost, and I said $50. He then said, word for word, "Sometimes I feel sorry for you." I got very hurt by that statement, but it was pretty late, and he was working remotely and was very overwhelmed with work, so I thought I would bring it up another time. Fast forward to today, we had an argument about it. I basically told him what he said really hurt my feelings, and I thought it was a very mean thing to say to someone, and he apologized, but said he was sad for a while after he saw that I bought the red light device. He said he thinks I'm gorgeous and I don't need that stuff, that the marketing of beauty products has worked well on me, and that he doesn't like to see me be a victim. He also added that he is worried about the fact that if I am spending that much money on beauty products now, what am I going to do when I am 40? I replied, when we get there, and even if that ever happens, we can talk about it. He said it's already happening. I was honestly getting pretty worked up at that point. Even if some of his points were valid, the way he was going at it and the words he was using felt like an attack to me, and like he had zero understanding about it. I was trying to explain to him that yes, it is true, I am feeling insecure about aging, but I am working on it already in therapy. There is not more I can say about it right now, really, because it genuinely is something that's in progress. Also, I was trying to explain to him that skincare is making me feel good about myself. He said that he does understand, and if he didn't, he would have said something all these years. I said that to me it sounds like he was just judging me in his head and kept it quiet all this time. He stormed out. He also mentioned he thinks I am obsessed with skincare, which I disagree. So, am I the a-hole? Some comments? Commenter, are your purchases within a reasonable budget? Just checking this isn't a financial issue. I love skincare and your routine doesn't sound excessive to me. If you use retinol, hopefully only at night, right? You need to wear sunscreen every day, and moisturizer is pretty normal, as is daily face washing. Is it possible your husband is concerned because maybe he's sensing that you're doing this out of a fear of aging or looking old, rather than it's a nice self-care routine? Your line, "What am I gonna do when I am 40?" I replied, "When we get there, and even if that ever happens, we can talk about it," concerns me. Do you fear that aging means your life is nearly over? Original poster responded, "Oh gosh, no. I mean, if we ever get to the point where I am spending an excessive amount of money, then we can talk about it. So even if we get to that point at all, I just did a rough estimate, and it's about 60 Canadian dollars a month for moisturizer, retinol, and sunscreen." Commenter, wait, that's it? I'm around your age, and that's pretty much what every woman I know does. I do vitamin C instead of retinol. That's a very reasonable and actually minimalistic routine. I was wondering if maybe your husband had a point, but now the whole speech seems a little self-righteous. That being said, as obnoxious of a thing to say as it is, I understand the "I feel sorry for you" comment. I'm often jealous of men. They don't grow up with loved ones constantly commenting on their skin and hair and weight and clothing. They don't freak out as much about aging because older men are not invisible the same way older women can be. Women are socialized to care so much about these things in a way men don't, and sometimes it's a burden. But I'm still happy to use sunscreen and moisturizer and to have really nice soft skin. Frankly, I think a lot of men like it too when they start, often when their wives share their products with them, LOL. Original poster responded, "I 100% see your point." When he said, "Sometimes I feel sorry for you," it felt like a punch in the stomach, but unfortunately I understood exactly why he said it and what he really meant. Here's the thing though, saying it makes me feel sad that you feel like you might need to do this would have been 1,000 times better. And the idea behind it isn't that different. One is condescending, the other one isn't. Original poster clarifies, yeah, I was worried I might be the asshole here because I got defensive. Commenter, you are worried more about aging, and that is not healthy. I'm telling you that's not healthy. We all age the same. Time passes at the same rate for everyone. You're equating time passing, aging with your skin health, and that's silly. Original poster responded, yeah, I don't think it's good for me either. I do think it will get better. As I continue therapy though, commenter, you're the a-hole. But it is sad to be that obsessed with aging in your 20s. You better have lots of money because if this is what you are doing in your 20s, I can't imagine what you will be doing in your 60s. Original poster responded, the whole point of starting this early is so you don't have to do excessive things later. Commenter, I've had eczema my whole life and finally got it treated well enough to where I could develop a skincare routine. And one thing I'm not seeing anyone in the comments saying is how good it feels to have nice, smooth, soft skin. Skincare is a very rewarding pursuit. It is therapeutic and routines of any kind are important for mental health and well-being. You're not just taking care of your skin, you're practicing self-love. Original poster responded, that is exactly how it feels. Also, after a stressful day, it relaxes me so much to just take care of me in that way. Top comment, somebody said, I don't know. You seem very, very defensive about your purchases. I can see why he might be sad. You're not even 30, why are you so concerned with aging already? What exactly are you so afraid of? Maybe it's just my perspective here, but some of the most beautiful women that I look up to are wrinkled and more beautiful for it. Betty White, Meryl Streep, Katharine Hepburn, Dame Maggie Smith, Jenny Agutter, Miriam Margolyes. I never can seem to spell her name right. It's good to take care of your skin if it makes you feel good in some way, that's not bad. But why are you concerned about aging at not even 30? The average lifespan of a human woman is 80 years old. That means you aren't even halfway through. If you are already terrified of wrinkling and aging before you're even 30, your husband is right to be concerned at how much more fear you're going to be living with by the time you actually see real wrinkles. There's really not much you can do to avoid the appearance of aging as you age. If you want to see how much you'll really age, look at your mother and your grandmother. If you wear sunscreen more regularly than they do, you'll age more slowly than they have and get less sunspots than your grandmother probably has. But otherwise, they are your future and you can't avoid them. The only thing that you can really do is try to make it confused with more left lines than scowl lines. Which doesn't mean to avoid sadness, it means to court things that bring you joy and make you feel accomplished. Original poster responded, downvoted. I honestly grew up in a patriarchal country. Even though I'm in Canada now, I did feel like other people, not me, after a certain age believe women expire and that they are generally defined by their looks. I think that is a pretty big reason I'm worried, because as much as I disagree, my reptile brain still thinks I need to forever look young. Edit, please don't come for me. I think people downvote me because they think I also have those beliefs. Once again, I do not. One more from Original Poster responded, I do not believe that women rot when they turn 30. I think my main worry is other people might treat me differently because they believe that, which I have overcome to an extent, but still is scary. Update 2 days later. So I talked with my husband yesterday. The issue got resolved pretty quickly. We both apologized and shared our feelings, and that was it. I admitted the last 2 purchases I did were impulsive, and I definitely don't need them. Not that I need the other creams I use besides SPF, but that's another conversation. And he admitted he could have phrased his concerns in a kinder manner, and he sees how they can come off condescending, even if that wasn't his intention. I also mentioned I did a Reddit post about this, and we were able to laugh about it. Some comments got me thinking, though. A few women said, I am perpetuating misogynistic beliefs, and it can affect negatively other women. And the fact that I am using creams proves it. I am still on the fence about this because 4/6 of the things I use are dermatologist recommendations for my age group, but I do admit there is some residual trauma there from growing up in a misogynistic environment, which I am working hard to get rid of 100%. To those of you who were kind and still expressed your honest opinion, thank you. Appreciate y'all. Off to use my new red light device. Cheers. Some comments. Top comment, somebody said. I think it's fine to want to look a certain way. As long as it's for you, you don't expect others to do it. And you're nice to yourself as you age or your skin changes. In my 30s, I've developed a manageable skincare routine, but I find it fun to try new products. I have a budget that applies to this spending and other personal spending, and it makes me happy. I share tips with friends. I follow and watch dermatologist on Insta. I don't impose this on others or expect myself or PPL around me to never age or change. All to say, I think there's a difference between perpetuating misogynistic beliefs and wanting to feel good. Original poster responded. 100% agree. Original poster clarifies, just to be absolutely clear, I prioritized advice from a dermatologist I met with, and got advice from Dr. Dre's channel is something I look more casually. Commenter, if you're worrying about aging at 30, wait until you're almost 50. Honestly, it hit me hard and kind of overnight. Not just from looking at my own aging face, I've always looked younger than my age, but at other women and men in my age range, there is absolutely nothing wrong with taking care of your skin, especially with what is on offer now. It's no different to a healthy diet and exercise. Your skin is an organ that needs to be taken care of, so you don't end up later in life with skin like a ball sack. And women need to stop tearing down other women. We have enough shit to deal with without getting it from each other. Original poster responded, there is something really beautiful my therapist told me. There is some grief in aging, and that's okay. People that go through medical procedures to look young forever never get to process that grief. And it was such a light bulb moment. I think I am in that phase of still processing that grief and doing everything in my power to embrace this new part of my life, even if it's just entering my 30s for now.
I'm a high school English teacher and have been for a few years. In that time, as a woman, I've been used to teenage boys behaving awkwardly around me sometimes, and pheromones are part of the deal. There have been occasional comments, but generally in the vein of, Miss, so-and-so has a crush on you, or Miss, would you be so-and-so's Valentine? It's all in good humor, in front of the whole class or a large group, and is well-meaning. My school throws a January ball for seniors from 16 to 18, which is basically an opportunity to celebrate the start of another calendar year. As it's after hours, not every teacher has to attend, and this year I was asked to chaperone. There is no alcohol permitted, but obviously some of them sneak in hip flasks and so on. During this month's ball, 2 students were huddled at a table in the corner of the hall, not dancing, just keeping to themselves. I know them well as problematic students who have difficulties socially, but also perform poorly academically, so they don't fit in with the popular crowd or the nerdy crowd. We have some of these every year. Poor hygiene, greasy hair, long fingernails, that sort of thing. Immediately I could tell they had been drinking from the way they spoke and smelled, and asked them to hand over any alcohol they had. One of the boys, call him Stuart, started protesting. He said the following, and I'm 100% sure this is what he actually said. Come on, miss. Don't pretend you won't open that bottle of Bailey's when you get home, feet up in your dressing gown, watching the new TV. Give us a break. Now, as soon as he said this, I felt my heart drop into my stomach and got cold all over. I had just bought a bottle of Bailey's Irish Cream for myself the weekend before the dance. I am in the habit, on nights where I don't have much marking, planning and want to treat myself, of having a bath and watching a movie, series in my dressing gown. My husband bought a new television over Christmas. I asked him how he knew those things, and he feigned ignorance, basically saying it was a lucky guess. I was so shaken that I left them, and a short while later they both left. But that night I could barely sleep, and my paranoia kept growing. I simply cannot believe that he could have guessed all 3 those things. 1, maybe, but no way all 3. My husband is away for work currently. I phoned and told him about it, and he basically downplayed my concerns, saying I probably mentioned those things to my class at various points, and this student has just remembered it. But I would never mention those things. I just wouldn't, and I'm sure I haven't. I've become more skittish at home when I hear noises. I only live in a small house. But when I arrive home from buying groceries, I check every single room and cupboard before I lock the doors. I've also arranged to have the locks changed. When cars stop outside the house, I turn all the lights off and peek at them through the blinds. I'm having trouble sleeping. In class, this student is quiet and the same as ever, not completing homework assignments, distracted in class. My husband is growing increasingly exasperated and worried more for my mental health than the possibility this student could somehow know details of my personal life. I mentioned it to my supervisor as well, and she also basically reasoned that I'd either misheard what he said, it was a coincidence, or a combination of the two. What's the play here? I'm seriously freaked out and don't know how to even begin putting this to rest. Update. I wasn't expecting this post to receive so much attention. I'm really grateful to so many people who have validated my concerns and helped me develop a plan of action. I got home a little while ago and am going out shortly with a friend to try to rule out Bluetooth and Wi-Fi devices with my neighbors. After that, the two of us will try and conduct a meticulous search of the house for any concealed devices, using the lights out phone camera. Trick some people recommended, and some other tips I've found online. Just to clarify a couple of points that I've seen raised a few times. Dressing gown is a really common term here in England for what Americans might call a robe. It's absolutely common parlance. Here, most people I know would associate a robe with something a wizard might wear. In terms of it being a lucky guess, if he had just said, "relax with a glass of wine," I might have assumed so. But the dressing gown comment, plus the Bailey's comment when I had just bought a bottle, and the explicit mention of a new television, which I am 100% certain I did not misinterpret, these things make it so much harder to write off as a coincidence. As far as social media goes, I have Instagram, which is set to private under my maiden name, and my profile picture is not of me. I am not in the habit of connecting with former students. I only have 3 who have all gone on to study English at university and have used me as references. I also have a Snapchat, which I use only with my husband and very close friends. I have posted nothing about my new television, and I also don't think we mentioned this to colleagues, let alone to students. Certainly I said nothing about the Baileys I just bought. Relevant comments. Somebody said, "Is it possible that you or your husband were observed buying the new TV and the Baileys?" The student's parents could have seen either purchase and said, "Oh, you just got a new LG 65-inch. I agree, you should do a sweep for cameras or ask a techish friend for help, but that would necessitate figuring out how the cameras got there, which opens up a larger conspiracy." Original poster replied, "How can I do a sweep for cameras? Genuinely want to know." Somebody said, "Well, I'm in IT but not in that area. If there was a camera, logically it would have to be transmitting, so prob use a Wi-Fi connection. I've read that skimmers and gas station credit card payment units can send data through Wi-Fi, so the bad actor doesn't have to retrieve it. That Wi-Fi should show up on your phone if you look at various Wi-Fi offerings on your phone. You'd have to take into consideration closeness of neighbors' houses and their routers, so it's a guess. How a camera got there is another puzzle. Occam's razor says to look at the easier likelihood. So can someone be looking in your window as you sip Bailey's in a nightgown and also noticed your recycle bin with a discarded LG TV box recently? Somebody said, "I'm not a huge techie, but I've been around the block a few times." Your husband is being naive. And while I appreciate people trying to encourage you that the surveillance is happening via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, and of course investigate those avenues, please also take seriously the idea that you are being stalked, even stalked for fun, with no malicious intent. I mentioned in a separate comment the idea of a dog, and there are also many do-it-yourself ways of alarming or otherwise reinforcing your house that don't involve tech if you look on YouTube, for example. Hoping you stay safe. Update. I wasn't going to post an update here, but the number of worried people who have reached out to me made me reconsider. After a thorough search of my house, I found 2 devices. They seem to be camera devices. I don't know if audio is included. One of them was in the smoke detector in my bedroom, while the other was concealed in the wall of my living room. Looking at an old picture of my bedroom, it looks like the smoke detector itself has changed very slightly. I think that the new one is a device in itself, which the culprit somehow switched with the old one, without us noticing. The matter has now been referred to the police. If it wasn't for so many of you taking me seriously and giving me practical advice, I wouldn't have had the courage to check, especially given my husband downplaying the concerns. He has been very apologetic and is coming back from his work trip early, but I've asked to spend some time apart and will be staying with my parents for a while. I'm glad I raised the issue with the head at my school and a couple of others, as there's a paper trail. Another suggestion from the thread. Needless to say, I'm completely shaken to my core, and I have the most revolting feeling of my privacy being invaded. I have no idea how many people have been involved in this, but phones have been taken from students, and we should have more answers soon. I won't be making any more posts or updates. Thank you again to everyone for affirming me and making me feel sane.